We continue with our focus today on South Africa's energy crisis. Could there be a quick and efficient solution to load shedding that's not been explored yet? Let's take this further with Sampson, Mamphweli, an energy expert who's a regular also here on Daytime Update. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome back to the program. So the president back in the country today, and we're expecting him to receive briefings and lead a cabinet meeting tomorrow dealing with this problem. Are there unexplored solutions to our crisis?
Good afternoon to you, Tabedile, and the viewers. So when you look at the entire crisis, this is something that's been coming on since 2003. It's not an event, and I've listened to so many people talking, even some of the people who talked before me, talking more of politics as opposed to attacking the problem. So far, the president has announced a plan to deal with this particular situation. The president, before he announced the plan, he engaged so many people. For the first time since the beginning of load shedding, a proper and thorough consultation process was followed, which resulted in the plan that the president has announced. Unfortunately, the plan has not yet been fully implemented, because there are various aspects of the plan that need further investigations and further confirmation. And then there are aspects that need money, and the money cannot be released until the various working groups are done with the work that they're doing to firm up the plan that the president announced. Mm-hmm. There is nothing more that the president can do. The firing of the CEOs and the boards and all that is not going to bring us new generation capacity. We can fire 100 director today as load shedding will continue tomorrow.
I suppose it's one thing to talk about the politics aspect as far as what the opposition parties are saying, but then you look at the posturing itself from government, where if indeed there's this plan and there are these issues to do with funding and the fleshing out of the plan, and the president rushing back from abroad as though he's coming to deal rather urgently with the situation, that too muddies the waters and creates a level of expectation, does it not?
Yes, it does create a level of expectation. It is not untoward for the president to rush back when there's a crisis. A leader must do so. Even if it's not an energy crisis, once the country is plunged into a crisis, the president must be here in the country. He must try and understand it from the ground, and then he must try and come up with a solution. There are solutions that he may come up with. He may fast track the release of funding to start responding to some of the measures that are contained in his plan, some of the action plans. They may, have to go to National Treasury and find more money to try and do things such as what Eskom has announced to say, let's buy whatever generation capacity we can find around. They've announced that they're going to buy up to 1,000 megawatts. Any megawatt that we can get onto our grid at this point in time is worth the trouble. So there are very few things that the president can do apart from, waiting for his plan to roll out. Unfortunately, people are very impatient, and we are sitting with a coal fleet that is giving us a lot of problems. I've listened to one of your previous speakers talking about us building a coal power station in 18 months. It can never happen in South Africa. We have examples of Midterm and Kusile that took 14 years with cost escalations. So we need to first get the system cleaned up in terms of the various aspects. And NERSA has talked about corruption. The State Capture Commission report has talked about corruption and maladministration and all those. We need to get those things out of the way before we can start talking about building new power stations.
As you yourself said at the beginning, load shedding has not been an event. There were warnings as far as the late 90s. In 2008, we saw the very first blackouts begin to play out. And recently, the situation appears to have been perhaps more fluid than many of us can remember. No sooner have you survived a break from stage 2, you're in stage 4, 5, then 6, quite rapidly. And I wonder if the plans, as announced by government so far, are able to keep up with that situation that appears so rapid, so fluid at the power stations themselves. Because as you say, they are old and unpredictable.
Yes, so if you look at the graphs, the energy availability factor for coal power stations, these are the coal power stations that are giving problems. We must be clear about that. It's not renewable energy. And if you look at their energy availability factor from 2010, it has been in a free fall. There are people who mislead others and say during their times this and that happened. The energy availability factor was above what it is now, but it was on the free fall. And that tells us of a system that was degrading over time. And there's no other way about it. So the system has been degrading over time. It has gotten to a level where things are worse. We could get up to 16,000 megawatts in terms of breakdown at any point in time. That is what we are faced with. So what we need to do is to respond to that, is to look at the problem itself and say, here is our problem, which is exactly what the president has done. He has looked at the problem and said, here's our problem. How do I respond to this particular problem? Let me go on a consultation process and consult all people in the sector and come up with a plan that we can implement once and for all. And unfortunately, during the time that the various work streams are busy working on this plan, the situation just continues to be dire. And that's what we are faced with now.
Which is why I asked, Prof, if that plan is flexible enough to respond to a situation that appears so unpredictable.
Yes, the plan itself can respond to part of the problem. It can't respond immediately to all the problems. If you look at some of the midterms and short and long-term kind of solutions, bringing forward bid window 6, for instance, and buying new generation capacity from IPPs. The Minister of Energy has been doing that, and that's not something that can happen tomorrow. If you look at things such as bringing in battery storage facilities, for instance, that the president has announced, that needs a lot of money. It needs a bit of studies here and there to look at the impact on the grid. That is something that we can implement almost immediately, depending on the availability of the money. So there are short-term, mid-term, and long-term solutions. Unfortunately, the short-term solutions are not going to get rid of load shedding immediately. They can ease the pressure on the grid while we're waiting for the mid-term and the long-term solutions to kick in and arrest load shedding completely.
Would giving more power to provincial and local governments in terms of energy procurement, would that be part of the perfect mix, shall we say, of the mid-term solutions? Would that help? Would that be faster than the national response, do you think?
Yes, that will help. The regulations allow local governments to procure electricity directly from IPPs. The city of Cape Town has been very active in that space. They want to procure up to 300 megawatts. They've been running their own Steenbras pump station to cushion the community from load shedding. The challenge is still that even the regulations still say that the Minister of Energy must still do the determination in terms of the procurement of electricity by local authorities. And that is also to ensure that they protect the communities, to ensure that the local councils don't go out there and procure electricity when they are not financially in good standing, when it's not even feasible to do so. So they need to provide a feasibility study report. They need to follow the PFMA and the Municipal Finance Management Act, and they need to get that determination from the Minister of Energy for them to be able to procure power. But the regulations allow the local authorities to do so.
Professor Sampson Mamphweli, good to have your time, sir. Thank you.